Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by lineups.com. Nate and Josh here on a Friday with 9 NBA Cup games to look at. We've got some best bets in this one. We've also got player props. So sides and totals, player props, all putting in one episode these days. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Coming back to you each and every weekday with these episodes. So, Nate, let's go ahead and jump right into your first look here. Got the Philadelphia 76ers, got the Pistons. We got a pretty good one here. You like the Pistons to pull it off.
I like a parlay here. Yep, this is leg one. Pistons to win. They are -5.5, and so you get pretty good odds on the money line here. I think Cade and Jalen Duren are absolutely locked into playing here. And I mean, even if Tobias Harris, Beef Stew, Auxerre do not play, I mean, this Pistons depth is pretty impressive. Have you met Dennis Jenkins, who apparently is like Linsanity North now? So I think they're definitely in better shape than the Sixers, who might not have DJ Edgecombe here, who really it's just about the Sixers have been running out of gas at the end of all these games lately. And you have to look no further than on Tuesday in Detroit. And now there's a little bit of a carryover after Detroit controlled that second half, completely came back, held Philly to 37% shooting, -27 net rating, 92 offensive rating. And you look in general in the last 5, 99 offensive rating, -17 net for Philly versus the Pistons in the second half of this 8-game win streak have a 124 offensive rating and +15 net. Could not be going in different directions. And that's what happens when you have depth, right? And when you don't have old and slow guys like Joel Embiid sometimes out there in the second half. But yeah, this Pistons team has been rolling. The vibes are very good when you win a game with everybody sitting on Wednesday, and now you get extra rest for those stars. Sixers have been even worse on the road. If I go through those splits again, it's basically just like adjust -10 net in terms of the second half on the road there. So that is a good leg for me as far as the Pistons continuing. If you parlay with the Lakers, you are then at close to even money. You can maybe do an adjusted line instead. I added an adjusted line with the Magic, which I'll get into later. But I mean, Lakers off a loss versus the sad Pelicans in the Cup. Like, what do you really want to say? They're 3-0 off a loss this season. They've won 6 straight with AR and Luka active, aside from losing to OKC, getting absolutely smacked. And it's Luka against a defenseless Pelicans squad down low. Lakers scored 130 a game in 2 against the Pels once they got Luka last year.
Yeah. The only thing to keep in mind with Detroit is the injuries. I mean, there are questionable guys. If you think they're good to go because like Cade and Duren missed last game, then you're fine. All-Star's already out. Beef Stew's questionable. So there's just some injuries to keep an eye on. If you really don't believe in Philly enough anyway, it might not matter. I would imagine Cade plays. He probably could have gone last game. So yeah, it should be good for them there. And yeah, what do you want me to say about the Pelicans, man? Bad vibes everywhere. I like Trey Murphy. I keep bringing him up is probably the biggest disappointment to me. He's not a 1A. He might be good enough to be your second best player to like make a championship run, or at least second best offensive player. I don't think he can be your second most important player even really at this point. And that's a problem. They don't have an alpha. They're just now running guys out who are going to be the future of this team. I would imagine that you got Fears and you got Queen, and Queen is a very, 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 very nice potential surprise. And not that he wasn't obviously a high draft pick anyway, more so surprise in that he's going to surprise you how good he can be and what he can do in addition to being a big man in terms of facilitating, playing that dribble handoff at the top. He's like comfortable high up at the top of the key. Just unfortunately doesn't matter. The Lakers are beating bad teams and they're losing to good teams, and this is a very, very bad team. So yeah, that's an easy one to add to your little parlay there. For me, I'm just like, let's just get it with the Wolves. We saw them wax the Jazz by 40 in the Cup game before taking it easy on them 2 days later and only winning by 7, indicating to me they care, right? They care about the Cup. I kind of have that feeling about the game in San Antonio as well with Golden State, where I'm kind of like, Golden State's already lost a game. SAS has been beating good teams in the Cup. Kind of feels like they're going to really bring it after losing to Golden State. Just a similar vibe to this one, although I would never dream of comparing Golden State to Sacramento. So let me avoid too much Timberwolves talk. I like what they're doing. They're not their best selves yet, and I think that's a really good thing. You always want to be playing your best basketball as you're going into the playoffs, not in November. And they're getting by with a very good team that doesn't need to be all out on the floor in the same game to beat teams, especially like the Kings. They are going to be healthy for this one, so there's no issues there. But when you look at Sacramento after that loss last time out to Atlanta, Doug Christie coming on the mic after the game and saying that he could have done better at the age of 55 than what this team is doing. Domas is on the trading block. I think Malik Monk is as well, but Domas is like publicly on the trading block. He apparently was the one really more than De'Aaron Fox responsible for not wanting Mike Brown around, even though Mike Brown turned him into like the number one touches, highest fantasy center, scoring center in the league outside of Jokic. And now he's just not getting that. He doesn't get those touches. There is no identity to this team. It might be Schroeder getting the most touches on the team tonight. It might be DeRozan. I think Levine is still questionable. Like, what do you want me to say, man? Like the Timberwolves just beat a team by 40 because they know that you need point differential. One more win by 20 to 25. I think they've cemented themselves a spot in the next round. Like I think the Timberwolves just handle business at home tonight.
Yeah, you want to talk about beating up on bad teams. Like, hasn't Anthony Edwards scored like 35 plus against every bad team he's faced this year? So maybe that's a little parlay here with the Wolves to win. The Kings, yeah, it's just like I cannot touch any of their props. I cannot back them in any way. Like, it is just an absolute mess of a rotation and a mess of like from a team building standpoint, because you have just all these overlapping guys who's just like, great. What do I do with this? Says Doug Christie. But yeah, it's NBA Cup night, so we are more comfortable with blowouts. You know what? Blowouts are up in general in the NBA this year because you have certain teams like the Nets and Wizards that just are not going to be competitive on the road, and other teams that are happy to just put them away and take a little extra rest. But with this being the Cup, Orlando is 5 points behind the Pistons in that group for point differential. They're going to try to take advantage while the Pistons have a harder matchup there against Philly. And I mean, this is the Nets. So even in regular situations, they're losing by an average of 15 a game, 17 a game on the road. Detroit beat them by 18. That's why they're leading the group last Friday. And yeah, we have no Paolo Banchero, but I mean, my lukewarm take that's probably actually good.
Don't say it.
It's good for Bane and Wagner as
okay.
well. Specifically, Paolo is a fantastic player. Okay, I looked through the lineup data and like, yes, he's part of all their great lineups. He is not a negative. He's not drawing away anything, but it's just been a work in progress as far as like how to integrate everybody, right? It's almost like an embarrassment of riches on offense for an Orlando team that was so bad on offense before, and now it's like a little more streamlined against the worst defense in the league. So both those guys should just be able to have their way. I mean, in their last four, even with Paolo out there, they're both at 123 plus on the offensive rating, despite hitting less than a third of their threes are Franz and Bane. And now you're getting Suggs closer to 30 minutes than the 20 minutes he was playing. We all love Suggs. He's part of all those best lineups. I mean, elite defensive rating when you get Suggs out there with those two guys. And yes, of course, the Nets are just awful in the last three. They've lost Cam Thomas and just been throwing out a bunch of dudes. They are even worse, including allowing the most field goal attempts at the rim, the most paint points by 8 points per game, 69 paint points per game. So just specific things, and the worst defensive rebounding rate by 6% in the league. Basically the trifecta for how to get smacked by the Magic on the road.
No notes, man. Poor Nets. I don't know. There's some guys on the Nets I like, but yeah, this is going to be a similar situation. Like I don't know what this spread would be if Paolo was in. Like, would it really be 17? Like, how many points is he worth? I don't know. I feel like it would be 14 anyway. Is kind of my point here. If he was in, if he wasn't in, because it's kind of gets to a point where it's just sort of like diminishing returns after a while. It's like we're so much better that after we get to a certain point of how much better we are, does it matter if we have Paolo? That's essentially what we're looking at here with the prices of both these teams at home, point differential, blah, blah, blah. Love it. Another reason I like an over, blah, 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 NBA Cup, blah, 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 right? Like over, we got Portland here. One thing I noticed that was really interesting, and I think you're going to be able to find some value on player props in this game too. You know, Portland seems to still be getting treated like this choppy, slow, muddy team that they were at the end of last year that was like number one in defensive rating, I believe. I know they were top 10 after the All-Star break. They've spent a good amount of time as the number one defensive rated team after the All-Star break for like a good stretch there. And it was just like, we don't quite have the offense, but we've got, Tumani Kamara and all these big wings and Denny, etc. So we can at least D up and be big down low with multiple bigs. Obviously, Ayton was still around, but now it's just pace. It's just go, 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 go. And it's funny because the only team faster than them is the Miami Heat. So I'm just kind of like, what year is this? Like, what's happening right now? And it's fun though. And for Portland, like, the reason I like the value on some of these props too, you see the sort of stigma here around them has led to the market saying like, let's keep some stuff down. Like a couple of the guys for the Rockets had props a couple games ago when I believe they played the Wizards. They went up 2 to 3 points as they should. They got bloated stats against a bad defense. And now they just dropped right back down to what I consider below market because they think they're just playing this like choppy, muddy team. And look, the Blazers are not bad on defense by any means. They're about a 113.5 defensive rating, which is good for like middle of the pack. So there's nothing to like sneeze at there. I'm not trying to say that it's easy, but the Rockets are the best offensive team in the league. And by the way, to add to the stuff we were talking about earlier, Minnesota's 4th offensive rating, that's got the makes of like a legit championship run. I'm just a little like pleasantly surprised with some of the teams that are at the top of the league in offensive rating. We'll see what happens with that. But I believe in the Rockets. Like the KD fit for this team, unreal. The established jump for Şengün into point center is beautiful. It's absolutely awesome. And he's like being used in the correct way now, up at about like 13 potential assists per game, averaging like he's a walking 7 dimes at this point and scores when he needs to. But obviously we know how everybody else is mixing in. And the last thing I'll say, Reed Shepard, another guy who's getting mid to high 20s now and is clearly they're like just starving for threes. And they finally realized, okay, if he's not going to be too big of a liability on defense, we can play him sometimes with the first unit because we need that 3-point shooting. It's really expanded things for them and helped them maintain that 123 offensive rating. So I see this thing, being good enough in pace for Portland and great on offense for the Rockets to get this thing over.
Yeah, and this is the group of death in the cup here. I mean, the other 3 teams, Spurs, Nuggets, and Warriors in this group. These 2 teams are in the thick of it. So yeah, every point gonna matter. Warriors, by the way, are in dead last and at -25 in that group. Yeah. Just as something to think about here with them playing the Spurs, who are going to care a lot more about this result tonight. But I mean, the Dubs do need a win regardless. Like they've been floundering. Let's get into player props. And we got Giannis back. We accurately predicted Giannis would not play on Wednesday to get ready for this one, right? They get the Hornets again. And LaMelo Ball is going to be back, which is just going to make this fun and higher scoring and a much lower chance of a blowout. And then Giannis sitting when they got the Lakers tomorrow. So, I mean, he clearly cares about the cup, right? We all saw the line he put up last Friday against the Bulls. That was on 2 days rest, by the way. He's now averaging 31, 13, and 7 on 2+ days this year. If you filter for after, having a usage rate of 35% or lower, which he had 32%, he got tired there down the stretch against Dallas on Monday. He's averaged 38 a game, 7.7 assists after that. So you looks like you're leaning on the points more in terms of taking the PA. I mean, the rebounds I am leaving out of this because Charlotte's surprisingly great on rebounding. I don't know if that's going to hurt with Kalkbrenner out. I know their rim protection is not going to be as good with Diabate in there instead of Kalkbrenner. I mean, Giannis's rebounding has been down a little bit this year. The prop is kind of low. If you want to add it, like I'm all for it here, but I think he's just going to be dominating on offense against a team that gives it all up. I mean, particularly shots at the rim, right? I mean, Chicago gives up the most shots at the rim. That's why Giannis had that massive line. Charlotte's 5th. Kalkbrenner's been their rim protector again. And you look at the first 6 with LaMelo in there. They were 28th in defensive rating and opponent assists, 25th in fast break points allowed. Giannis did have 15 potential assists per game in 3 against Charlotte last year, and he's up at 12.3 recently this season with only 5.7 actual assists. So I think there's a situation here where he's due for more assists against a team that's really bad guarding the 3-point line too. So those are the easy kickouts for him to get those dimes.
Yeah. I don't have an opinion on the boards, and Musa is a better rebounder than Kalkbrenner to this point. I would say he's really, really good when he gets the minutes. But I think the Giannis points in the cup is kind of nice too. I mean, he's averaging like 31 a game since last year's NBA Cup now, and I mean, I loved this against Chicago still going to like it a lot against Charlotte with zero rim protection. Whomever is standing down there for them, they don't have it. But Diabate is a rebounder, man, and this thing has flown up. It actually opened at 7.5 boards for him on some spots, but I think like the rebounds are still there with Kalkbrenner out. Like that's what I was going for last game. I took a double-double. He came close. He still crushed the boards in 23 minutes. Like this dude's at a point of basically like a rebound chance a minute with the amount of time that he spends on the court. He had 24 in last game with 23 minutes. So that's the math right there. The Bucks here, just kind of middle of the pack in a lot of ways, in a lot of different defensive things, rebounding included. Miles Turner, not going to be your top, center rebounder, not going to be a guy who's just camped out down low trying to catch boards and get easy ones to pad board stats or anything like that. He's going to be at around 5 or 6 when he plays a decent rebounding team. And like you said, because of guys like Diabate, Bridges at each position, Knipple, really good for a small forward rebounding, right? Even LaMelo is always going in there as a tall guard trying to get boards and just sort of pad his stats, as we know, getting like 8 rebounds on 9 rebound chances usually because he's just cleaning stuff up. So like they care about that stuff. I guess that's one thing they're good at is the rebounding. So I'm just going to take Diabate to get the high 20s, and he could easily touch 30 or more in this one. The way that they use him, even when LaMelo's out there, like he's going to be their best rebounder, and they're going to see that they need him with Giannis, either Giannis or at this point whomever's out there for the Bucks being a better rebounding team than overall than the Hornets, who we're going to have on the floor. So
yeah, he's at 12.3 per 36 in terms of the rebounds, 6.6 offensive rebounds per 36. So he's just attacking every potential miss here. And I mean, yeah, the Bucks have been pretty solid on defense, and should be offensive rebounding chances to go around as well. It's a fast-paced game, Josh, so we like Joshy Hart, right? I mean, normally against the Miami Heat, you'd be like, whoa, slow your roll with Hart. But they are the fastest team in the league, and we targeted this for the last couple of years when he plays the Pacers or the Hawks or something. He's just going to pile up those peripheral stats, and Jalen Brunson's out, so he's going to do a little bit more scoring, we would think. Scoring was actually down last year from 14 to 12 a game with JB out. Assists jumped from 5.5 to 7.5 though, and the usage was the exact same for him. And I mean, it's a situation where he's just was not healthy early in the year. He was dealing with that back. He still got 9, 5, and 5 in his third game of the year against the Heat, and then had to miss a couple. Right. Since coming back, though, I mean, we're talking 26 and 27 PRA against fast-paced teams, Chicago and Washington, on back-to-backs, too. So, I mean, it's now encouraging that he is on normal rest and that he only played 18 minutes 2 nights ago because they got blown out by the Magic. So the price started a little deflated. This is another one that's climbing up as people are starting to add all this up because he's only at 18.5 PRA in his last 3 there, with that Magic matchup being pretty tough. But yeah, now you get a Heat team allowing the highest assist to field goal ratio, the most threes per game. And since losing Bam 5 games ago, they have a 45% rebounding rate, which is worst in the NBA if you project over the entire season. So Hart in some models is projected for like 10 boards here, and 7.5 is the props, projected to fly over that thing. And he's plus 270 for a double-double, which we've seen him get without points in the past. So don't hesitate to sprinkle on that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got Josh Hart game written all over it. And it's a little bit disappointing how other people like Mikhail even are not really like stepping up in the assist department or playmaking department when Brunson's out. It's like Brunson's usage gets dispersed pretty evenly, and Hart definitely gobbles up as much of that as he can, like more than the bigs, especially. So that this is, like you said, this has Josh Hart game written all over it, and like 10-10-10 could easily be a thing for him tonight. So the aforementioned Reed Shepard, too low. Just too low, man. Like I think we need to put him up at the 26 to 29 minute mark. I think we're getting an advantage here because this is just lazy, like line making, which is just like Reed Shepard minutes in big game won't play. You have to watch the trend upward for him in how his usage is being incorporated with the starting lineups against starters as well. Now he's coming in off the bench for sure, but he's playing in big time minutes when they need 3-point shooting. And I think they're going to need 3-point shooting in this game. That's going to, I think, is going to be high scoring, like we said earlier to start the episode as well. So this is really just a minutes thing. Like he's shooting lights out for sure from 3, but he's getting the attempts big time, right? Like last game, I believe he hit 5 of them. That was the Wizards. That was an easy call. He still only played 25 minutes against the Wizards, whereas maybe you would think he would play closer to 29-30. But he's not an edge of the bench guy now. He's after Tari Eason off the bench. It's like him, Eason, Adams. pretty nice little trio there coming off of the bench, especially the way that they all do different things. It's like you've got the short guard who can do things from the perimeter. You've got the do-it-all forward with Tari Eason, and then you've got Adams if you need the rebounding. But his role is very, very, very clear on this team. And I do like the points, and I'm not opposed to taking the threes, but I think the points will continue to be something that you can rely on easily. He's still getting a couple shots inside the arc per game and has actually gotten a couple free throws as well. So happy to take the points, but if you want the threes, I'm not going to hold you on that.
Yeah, it's a fine look. I mean, if you project this game to go over, Reed Shepard's going to get in on the action. The Rockets are pretty starved for actual guard play from the perimeter. I don't know how long they can sustain themselves off Steven Adams' offensive rebounds. Especially Blazers are pretty good down low in terms of limiting boards. So yeah, they're gonna have to maybe sprinkle in some Reed Shepard and hope he can survive on defense.
Yeah, I think he'll be good there. And that is all the time we have for you in this one. Definitely make sure to subscribe to the channel. We'll be back on Monday. Enjoy those NBA Cup games. Until we see you next, happy betting.